It all started innocently enough, with me and my friend Zach deciding to ditch our after-school responsibilities for a secret trip to the cinema. We were feeling rebellious, craving the thrill of breaking the rules and indulging in a little escapism. As we settled into our seats, giggling and whispering like the mischievous teenagers we were, our excitement was palpable. Little did we know, our innocent outing was about to take a terrifying turn. In the dimly lit theater, I noticed a figure staring at us without even blinking. A strange man, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. I thought it may be because he saw a girl and a boy sitting together and wanted to be nosy. I tried to ignore him, focusing instead on the movie playing out on the screen, but his presence lingered like a dark cloud over our evening. The movie was a long one, so there was a 5 minutes break in between. I told him to sit there and went to the washroom. Coming out, I wanted to buy a popcorn, but then that strange man came and stood behind me. "Sir, why are you following me?" I asked. "Who is following you?" "I came here to buy a popcorn," he said. I decided not to buy popcorn and went back to my seat. Then I saw it. He also came back without buying anything. By now, I was sure of it. He was spying on us, for what I still don't know. I told my friend about it. He was very angry and wanted to confront him, but we were school children, and he was a well-built grown-up man, so I told him to keep calm. As the credits rolled and we made our way out of the theater, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Sure enough, as we walked through the deserted streets, I caught sight of the man following us, his footsteps echoing ominously behind us like a predator stalking its prey. Panic surged through me as I realized the gravity of the situation. We were being followed. With trembling hands and racing hearts, we quickened our pace, desperate to shake off our pursuer and make it home safely. But just when we thought we had escaped, he appeared before us, blocking our path with a menacing grin. He asked us, "Are you girlfriend-boyfriend? Why are you walking? Do you need a lift?" We said no, thank you. As we were about to walk away, he reached out and almost caught my hand. Without a second thought, we turned and ran, our footsteps pounding against the pavement as we fled for our lives. But the man was relentless, his laughter echoing in the darkness as he chased us through the streets with a determination that sent chills down my spine. When we were near our home, he ran towards his, and I ran towards mine. Finally, I reached the safety of my front door, heart pounding in my chest as I fumbled for my keys. But as I reached for the handle, I realized that the door was locked tight, leaving me stranded outside in the darkness. My father and mother may be late after their work. With no other choice, I raced around to the back of the house, praying that I could find the spare key hidden under the pot as my parents had instructed. But as I reached for it, a pair of hands closed around my throat, pulling me back into the shadows with a strength that left me gasping for air. With a scream, I fought back, lashing out with all the strength I could muster as I struggled to break free from my attacker's grip. And just when it seemed like all hope was lost, help arrived. My friend Zach came with his parents. Hearing the footsteps, he left me and ran away. As I collapsed to the ground, shaken but alive, I couldn't help but wonder, what twisted fate had brought me to this moment? And more importantly, would I ever be able to escape the terror that had gripped my soul and left me haunted by the horrors of this fateful night? If you find the content interesting, please subscribe. We move on to our next story. It all started on a sunny Friday afternoon at school, the air alive with the sounds of laughter and the excitement of a soccer game in full swing. I was playing with my buddies, the sun beating down on us as we raced across the field, kicking and passing with all the enthusiasm of youth. But then disaster struck. A poorly aimed kick sent the football sailing through the air, soaring over the fence and into the grounds of the nearby mansion. Now, normally we would have just shrugged it off and gone to retrieve the ball, but the problem was that the weird person who was the owner of that mansion complained to the school authorities about us. So, our headmaster warned us not to disturb him and promised to fence the ground higher by the end of this month, but the damage is already done now. But being the brave souls that we were, we couldn't just leave the ball there to rot. So, with a mixture of trepidation and determination, We ventured into the shadowy grounds of the mansion, our hearts pounding in our chests as we searched for the lost football. The ball is nowhere to be seen, so we were almost sure that it went inside through the open window. 3 of us slowly climbed the window and went inside. It was a big room, old and dusty. We decided to search thoroughly, but as we moved forward, we soon realized that we were not alone. Strange noises echoed through the air, and there were footsteps other than ours. It may be the strange owner of the mansion. Despite the growing sense of unease gnawing at our minds, we pressed on, our curiosity getting the better of us. And that's when we found it, the football, lying abandoned in a corner. But before we could retrieve it, a sudden noise shattered the silence. "Are you here for the ball?" We were frightened by the sudden voice, and then we saw it, shadow of a big man. I gathered my courage and replied, "Yes, please, can you forgive us this time? We will never do this again." He said nothing, just laughed in a weird manner. Then his demeanor changed and he began to chase us through the mansion. It was old and crumbled. Why doesn't he repair it? Of course, we had no time to think about it at that time and started to run with all our might. My friends jumped through the window, but I couldn't. He almost caught me, so I ran in a different direction to escape from his clutches. Then I hid in a room and kept silent. I could hear his footsteps, still searching for me. My heart began to beat faster. I knew I was in a very dangerous situation. Everything now depends upon whether my friends decide to keep quiet or decide to report. I hid for nearly 5 minutes and he stopped searching, thinking that I escaped somehow. Then I stood up from my hiding spot to escape, but he found out and chased me. Just as he was about to catch me, a voice came from outside. "Jackson, you idiot, come out." It was the voice of my teacher. My friends told him the situation and he came to rescue me. He was so angry towards me that he shouted my name, and then the man stopped chasing me and went to the front door to meet my teacher. He then had a quarrel with my teacher, but at last decided to turn and leave. My teacher gave me a warning look and told me to go back to school. He was a nice human, so he did not report it to the headmaster, and thus we escaped the dark fate. As we fled from the haunted mansion, our minds reeling with the horrors we had witnessed, I couldn't help but wonder, why was he trying to catch us? What was he going to do to us if he caught us? Why he never repairs the mansion? Why is he living alone? Even though we had a lot of unanswered questions, we were happy to escape from that fearsome man. It all began innocently enough, with my girlfriend Anna and I exploring the abandoned garden of our old high school late one evening. We just needed some time alone, just to hold our hands and steal a kiss. But since extracurricular activities were introduced after school hours, our campus was always a busy place. So we decided to come to this abandoned place. There is a small room here which looks like a classroom, but is not used now. We entered it in the hope that no one will find us here. We found a place to sit and talk for some time, and then we slowly leaned towards each other to kiss, but then suddenly Anna pulled out. She was looking towards the floor. There was a movable portion of floorboard under her feet. Out of curiosity, we decided to see what's inside. We moved the floorboard and then saw a tunnel inside. Actually, it was part of the drainage system of our school, but only it was cleaner. As we wandered through the deserted corridors, the air thick with the weight of forgotten memories, we stumbled upon something that sent shivers down our spines. A hidden doorway concealed behind a crumbling section of the wall, its entrance beckoning us with an air of mystery and intrigue. With trembling hands, we pushed open the door and stepped into the darkness beyond, our hearts pounding in our chests as we ventured deeper into the unknown. From the direction we seemed to be moving towards the old church opposite our school. But as we pressed on, our curiosity getting the better of us, we soon realized that we were not alone in the depths of the tunnel. Strange whispers echoed through the darkness, and the shadows seemed to dance and shift with a life of their own, as if concealing secrets too terrible to behold. Or is it just a figment of our imagination? Anna started to panic and clutched my hand. "Shall we go back?" I asked her. "No, let's see where this leads us," she replied. I can never fully understand this girl. She is panicking, yet she wants to move forward. Despite the growing sense of unease gnawing at my gut, we pressed on. driven by a desire to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. And that's when we found it, a hidden chamber at the end of the tunnel, its walls adorned with strange symbols and markings that sent a chill down my spine. I pushed it open, and then we saw it, the cemetery behind the old church. Why should there be an underground passage from our school to a cemetery? We wanted to explore more, but before we could investigate further, a sudden noise shattered the silence. Somebody shouted, "Who is there?" With a sinking feeling in my heart, I knew that we had stumbled upon something far more sinister than we had ever imagined, a secret so dark and twisted that it threatened to consume us whole. We ran back to the school through the tunnel. We found other branches inside the tunnel, but those were leading to the drainage. Somehow we found the correct way towards the school. The only problem was that the tunnel was very dark. We had no torch except a small light behind her Mickey Mouse keychain. So our body had several scratches and wounds when we came back to the school. We were still curious about the tunnel and wanted to talk about it to someone, but we knew it was not a very good idea, so we decided to keep quiet about our encounter. If you find the content interesting, please subscribe.